Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. Got a little something I wanted to share with you. You know, I'm constantly trying to show you ways that you can turn the systems of the world loose so that you can really live. I'm constantly coming up with evidence to share with you. Let me just share a couple of numbers with you. Think with me, if you will. I made a few notes, and I wanted to ask myself about roughly how many people were on the earth. So I asked old Google, and Google told me that there were roughly about 7.5 billion people on earth. 7.5 billion. I really first asked them how many trillionaires, and that was too much money. There are no trillionaires yet. However, they speculated that maybe about in 40 years from now, they will have not only one, but maybe 11 trillionaires. Okay, so you got 7.5 billion people on Earth. And I asked Google how many Americans, how many people are in America. And they said roughly about 328 million Americans. There are about 328 million Americans in this country. 328. Let that stay in your mind. 328 million. Okay. I asked how many billionaires were on the planet. So Google says roughly about 2,153 billionaires out of the 7.5 billion people. There are about 2,153 billionaires. All right. So I asked, how many billionaires do we have in America, the United States? So we got 621 billionaires. 621 billionaires in the United States. So I asked approximately how many millionaires, should I say, do we have on earth? And they said approximately 47 million millionaires. 47 million. 47 million. Not 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. 47 million. But there's 7.5 billion people. All right. How many millionaires in America? Well, there are 11 million millionaires in America. Now let's see. We got 11 million American millionaires. And we got 621 American billionaires. So we have a total of 11,621 citizens of this country. You got 621 people, and 11 million people. That's not many people, ladies and gentlemen. That's not many people at all. $11 million. So you got what's the number of poor people in this country? You got 38 million people in this country that's poor. 38 million people in this country that's poor. So you got about 11,621 people that's rich, can basically do what they want to do. You got 38 million people living below the poverty line. And you got all the other people in between. Well, let's say we get 50 million people. So you got about 270 some people that's just living in between. And you got so many people that's living in between who you don't know live in between because they so embarrassed to let you know that they are living in between. They have been taught to be ashamed of the way the system has treated them because the system got you blaming yourselves. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just shared this with you. That's a small number of people that got a lot of wealth. Lot of wealth. Not just in America, but all over the globe. That same operation works. Few people got a lot of wealth, can do everything they want to do. And the rest of the people can do what they can. And so, as I mentioned to you 40 years ago, you heard the story about Moses going down in Egypt land to tell old Pharaoh to let God's people go. Well, back in those days, if the story is accurate, these people were waiting for a deliverer. They were waiting for somebody to come and deliver them out of bondage. Nowadays, I don't hear anybody talking about waiting about looking for anybody. I mean, if it just happened, it just happened by accident. And it seems less likely that it's going to happen by accident. But my message, ladies and gentlemen, is about one thing. We recognize that we've all lived on earth, and we got all kind of fantasies and imaginations and ignoramus stuff going all through us. And we can act so crazy. Yes, we can. But my message is for those people who believe that they've been tricked. Listening to the systems of the world and following those systems, even though these systems are something that they can't stand. But to recognize that there is a power above that they can't see, and it is brought to them as a reminder through me and people like me. That's my job, to remind them, to remind you that there's another power you can't see called God. It's spirit. And the plan is to let the Spirit of God live inside of me, live inside of you, every last one of you, and allow that God Spirit in you to be you doing what you came into the world to do, led by the Spirit of God. Whatever it is that you came into the world to do. You didn't come, one thing you did not come in the world to do. You came into the world to serve one another, to love one another. You did not come in the world to make money. Money is totally a distraction. It has nothing to do with God's plan. It's all a part of a distraction. Remember that. It's a part of a distraction. You came into the world to be a dancer, to be a singer, to be a pianist, to be a painter, to be a ditch digger, to be a carpenter, to be an electrician, to be a pilot, to be a skydiver, to be in everything. You came into the world, and every last one of those are absolutely necessary. And that's what you came into the world to do. You didn't come into the world to be a jack of all trades. You didn't come into the world, if you're a singer, to mow your lawn, to fix your car when it's out of whack. No. That's in the old world. That's not in the new world where God's people. See, God's people got people that were designed, basically appears, with nothing in mind but to do those little things that needs to be done. These are people who love to do it. You know why they love to do it? Because it gives them their greatest joy. And not only does it give them their greatest joy, it makes sure that all of their needs are met, all of their wants are met, all of their desires are met. They have peace and prosperity and freedom and joy of life and the fulfillment of their dreams. They got a career, the whole baby that gives them their greatest joy. They suffer for nothing. This is the world This is the government. This is the system that I'm advocating for you. And can't no Donald Trump touch that. And can't no conservative Republican touch that. And can't no left-wing Democrat touch that. Nobody can touch that. Why? Because that is divine. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, the way that this thing works is not looking at the president to make sure that he follows the rules. It's not looking at the Speaker of the House to make sure she follows the rule. What it's doing, ladies and gentlemen, is giving each of us a role to play that we love playing. And it's not even like we're in it, but we're in it. And we're loving doing our role in it. But while we're in it, we are protecting one another to make sure that none of these viruses, nothing that will come in and cause them pain and suffering, nothing that will come in like money and trick them again and having them thinking that they're better than someone else. None of us are better than any of us. We are all number one with God, children of God. Nobody is above us, and the only thing is beneath us is some sin and some evil trying to suck us out, and we ain't gonna let that happen. That's what I'm talking to you about, ladies and gentlemen. That's the system that I'm talking about. And I'm asking and I'm bringing it to anybody who feel like that, anybody who won't like that. Here is the opportunity for you to come and gather around this spirit. I'm not talking about those other spirits. I'm talking about this spirit. This is the spirit of love. This is the spirit of God. God sent me to tell you, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And this is our role. This is our job, to treat people with love, to teach them what love is. They don't know. Look around us. Look around us. They have no idea what love is. But we, by the power of love and God, can teach them. So I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me your time, knowing that you're still contemplating if you're going to go with Joe Biden, Donald Trump. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to say thanks again. And until next time, Eddie Marker saying goodbye. You always love to do that to me.